This is the MLW Radio Network. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in Mind of the Meanie. I'm your tour guide, Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
It's a lovely, warm Philadelphia evening as we do a little Meanie After Dark here. A little inside baseball. We are recording July 8th. Normally we do mornings, but I'm feeling pretty good. My guy, I've had my day. And normally I like to record in the morning because let me get the first things out of my head. Normally every time I wake up, I have my own little show in my head. And, but like I've had a full day ahead of me, so it'll be interesting to see how things go with Meanie After Dark.
Both of us are a little
Which means nothing to the people who listen on the morning. Yeah. But to us, it's Meanie After Dark.
We're putting in the hard work for you folks. You should see my eyes right now. They're baggy and saggy. And I am working on getting my energy back. You can actually see this right now. You can record it live as I'm talking into the microphone. You can watch this live if you sign up right now at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. We have all kinds of great new tiers, all kinds of really affordable options that get you a lot of great content, including watching this show live. So go there right now, patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Want to welcome the Pod Squad. As always, Pod Squad, thank you so much for being here with us. I almost said this morning as a force of habit, but Meanie, this evening, we are burning.
Good evening.
We are burning the midnight oil, my friend. And speaking of the midnight oil, we have seltzers. Usually we say this for Ask Meanie, but I think we need to wet our whistles a little bit. So,
I've had a full day.
What are you drinking?
I got Canada Dry Mandarin Orange.
Nice. And I have this Liquid Death, Bury It Alive. Meanie, I can only find this anywhere. In 30th Street Station at the Old Nelson Food Mart, right as you get off track 4. You come down the escalator, you buzz out, and I always run them out every week. So they always stock it up. So shout out to the Old Nelson Food Market down there in 30th Street. Let's give him a Sandman here. 3.
I'm going to try one-handed.
I'm going to do my best. This is a heavy. I feel like Dear Donnie with his tip up here. All right, 3.
Hurry up.
2, 1, and... There she is.
I had to bail out in the one-hander.
It's delicious. It smells so nice. It smells berryful.
Dude, Liquid Death is no joke.
It's really good stuff. It's carbonated, but it's like flavored sparkling water. And it's got electrolytes and shit in it. It's really fucking good.
Yeah. Oh, dude, usually, well, for instance, 2 nights ago when I get completely hammered, my favorite thing to do the next morning is to drink some Pedialyte.
Yeah.
Because you get the electrolytes. It's like the perfect hangover. You said electrolytes, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was drunk 2 nights ago. So, I had some of that. Or Gatorade, but Pedialyte's OG with the electrolytes, so I'm pretty good with using that. But Liquid Death, I first saw that through Pat McAfee's show.
Yeah.
And then I saw it out in the wild, and I grabbed like a couple different cans of it. And all of them are great.
I think it was either, I can't remember. I think it was one of my friends on Instagram had posted something about this, and I asked her, I was like, what is that? And she was like, it's water. I'm like, oh my God, I got to try it.
Looks like beer.
It looks like a big beer energy drink, but...
Yeah.
So it's, boy. I'm going to get a good one.
Yeah, a little seltzer kiss.
Full disclosure, one of my kids is sleeping on the bed over here, so I'm hoping we don't have any run-ins today. But if I burp too loud, I'm going to wake up the whole house. But what's going on with you, man? How was your 4th?
It's better to burp and taste it than fart and waste it.
Or trust a fart too much, which Lord knows we've both been there.
That was not the day yesterday. Had a couple close calls where I was just like, whoop, nope. I do the gingerbread man walk down the hall to the bathroom and
Yeah, you're touching cotton the whole way. Like, oh my God.
See him out the back door.
Man, I'll tell you, before we talk about the 4th, I'm on this new food plan. I'm back with my trainer trying to get back in shape and lose this COVID poundage. And he's got me on like a super heavy protein diet. And I farted in the car before I went to the gym this morning, man. I was like, what the fuck died inside of me? That is horrific.
Dude, yeah, mine are getting weird. It's like, I did a fart yesterday, smelled like a fucking set of car keys. I was like, what the fuck, man? Then I had to look for my car keys to make sure I didn't eat them.
It smelled like wet change.
Oh. That's the fucking worst, dude.
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
So how was Meanie's 4th of July?
It was pretty cool, man. Me and Mrs. Meanie. Well, Mrs. Meanie's the griller of the house. Had a little barbecue, little grilling going on. We got annoyed by our neighbors, and there's one house on our block that's like. I get that you like music, but we don't need to enjoy it either.
What do they play?
Oh, dude, they just go out front. They got this like machine that was built for karaoke, but the bass is all the way up, and they're literally at the top of my block, and I'm 3/4 way down. I feel the bass. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
So we go out in the backyard and grill and find some peace. It was pretty good. Watched a couple shows. We finished Volume 2 of Stranger Things, Season 4, Volume 2, which was amazing.
I've heard so many good things about that show, and
I try not to talk about because I don't want people to spoil it for me next time. They're like, hey, have you seen the episode where blah 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 blah? People like to tell you about the show like they're auditioning for TV Guide as a movie reviewer. It's like, dude, I haven't watched
Roger
it yet.
fucking Ebert over here.
Yeah, Stranger Things is a perfect show, especially growing up in the 80s and music, everything. But like, if you're a fan of movies from that era, like 80s era style, like suspense or horror movies, it's fucking perfect.
Now, I know I've seen recently, because I'm trying to stay hip with the kids, but I was on TikTok, and apparently there's a bunch of TikTok kids and TikTok influencers, whatever the fuck that is, which I feel like we still need to do that, because I feel like we could really pull something off there. But they're learning about Metallica because I think Master of Puppets was on the show.
Yes.
And
there's a very vital scene there's a very important scene with that song.
And there's so many people that are discovering their entire catalog, and it's like, welcome aboard. But it's weird, like, it's just so fucking weird. It's the same thing with this gatekeeping bullshit that all of these fandoms do, and it's like, why are you gatekeeping Metallica? Like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah, it's like the hipster thing. It's like, I liked them before they, or like, when people like a band before they get big, and then all of a sudden I like their earlier stuff.
Who gives a shit? Like, who cares?
Right.
So stupid.
Right. Like, Stranger Things this year have, regenerated 2 songs, Master of Puppets by Metallica and Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, which is another, that song's a part of another vital part of the storyline. But there's also, dude, this show has like made me cry more than I'd like to admit, but as a guy who thinks he can hold his shit, keep his shit together. But there's like a remixed version of Separate Ways by Journey in it.
Oh, man.
And the way they do it and the way it fits the scene and the storyline, I'm just like,
I'll have to check it out. I would love to.
Yeah.
I love when they take music and just break it down, like when they take a specific song and break it down to the essentials, and like they just stretch out. Like
I'm trying not to give too much away.
Stuff of the record, and they did that. Jordan Peele did that with "I Got 5 on It." That's a classic rap record by the Loonies. And there was a movie that he did recently. I'm going to look it up right now. I think is it called Us? I think. I'm looking it up right now. But he basically took it and kind of like flipped it and made it this like crazy horror style. Yeah, the movie's called Us. And he made it like this crazy horror style song, or whoever it was in the music producers. And I just think that's incredible when people can just like pull that kind of thing apart, and like really make it something new.
So have you seen Stranger Things at all?
I've only seen like clips of it here and there. I haven't actually seen the full show.
Like, I think it's a good enough show to where like it would be a good, cool thing for you and the family to bond over and watch. Because it's, there's kids in the show. There's a little bit of violence with the horror aspect of it. I don't know how if you've trusted your kids to watch horror movies yet, but
not horror movies. But James's favorite wrestler is the Fiend, so he'll probably be okay with it. But the other two,
it's kind of along those lines of like what he does and stuff like that. And I'm sure somebody's out there's going to dissect what I just said, and
they're going to rip us apart.
Oh, well,
of course.
The character here is not at all like the Fiend.
Shut up.
Right. But but no, I think because me and Mrs. Meanie watched the first season together, right? And then we went to the movies one day with our buddies Donnie and Bev. There's a couple we're friends with that are in our circle. And we went to see the remake of It, like the first part.
Yeah.
When they're kids. And they really liked it. I really liked it. I was like, and we had just watched Stranger Things around that time. I was like, I think we need to introduce you guys to Stranger Things. And we got home from watching It, and we put on the first episode of Stranger Things, and they're like, all right, so we're going to watch the next one? And we basically binged it, like, and then
shit.
it's like this thing with Stranger Things is like a really cool tradition. Me, Mrs. Meanie, Donnie, and Bev get together and watch. That's our thing. Like, we won't watch it without each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
That is cool,
it's cool to have a tradition like that. But yeah, the show's been fantastic. Like some of the episodes this season were super long. Like the first episode back was like an hour and a half, and then like the last one was like 2 hours. It was like a movie, but
wow.
So you don't even feel it. You're watching it, and it's just amazing. The Duffer Brothers who wrote this. I just watched an interview with them, and it's just like, dude, they got it.
Yeah.
Even with everything as simple as like the opening credits reminds me of like every like horror movie I've watched in the 80s and stuff like that. And down to the music, their use of music in the show, and just the pop culture references. You'll see a lot of things that feel similar. You'll feel their influences in the show.
Right.
And it's just... It's amazing. The next season's going to be the last season.
Oh, okay.
And so if you want to get caught up in time for that. But, the time in between this season 4 and season 3 was like 2 years.
Okay.
So hopefully, and that was due to COVID. So hopefully it only takes like a year for this one to come out. So...
It's weird, like when you say you were like, you can tell even down to the credits. Like I always feel like when I start a show and I watch the credits, I'm like, all right, this is about to be a fucking wild ride. You know what I mean? Like it's like Sopranos, Breaking Bad. It sounds like Stranger Things is the same way, but like you just know. You know what I mean? Like you just like, yep, I'm in for a ride. But I'm into all that sci-fi stuff. I'm into all of that like wild, like I'm not a big horror guy. That's never really been my thing.
Same.
But I like the supernatural elements of things.
Yes.
Actually, the only horror movie I've ever really enjoyed was called The Frighteners. You ever seen that flick? Michael J. Fox.
No of it, but I never watched it. Oh, hold on. Maybe I did. Is the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket? Yes. Okay,
Ermey.
I did see that.
He's in it.
Yep.
There's a couple other. It's Jake Busey is his name. Or whatever the brother's name is. He's in the movie as the killer. And it's a great flick. It's about this guy who he's a ghost, and he comes back and he starts like killing people, and then he's killing ghosts. And Michael J. Fox he sees ghosts because of a near-death experience. It's good. It's kind of campy, but I enjoy it. but it's the only one that I can actually watch, in a way that isn't going to freak me out. But I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Are you a Star Wars guy?
I'm indifferent.
Indifferent.
When I was a kid, I loved it. I saw the movies in the theater and Return of the Jedi. Saw that in the theater. I had the action figures. But, once the wrestling bug bit me, wrestling became my Star Wars. I don't hate it.
Right.
But I haven't gone out of my way to watch it.
I just finished Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Before somebody corrects
Sure.
me, I haven't gone out of my way to watch the second the third set of movies.
Right.
I've seen the original 3. I haven't gone out of my way to see the follow-ups, which were actually the prequels.
Right, the prequels and then the sequels. So there's 6 movies you have to get caught up on. Which what I was going to say was I watched Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I won't spoil it here if anybody hasn't seen it yet, but it was absolutely incredible. Like I feel like it was way better than the show should have been, because you get into these fantasy roles and you get into these ideas where you have an idea about what the show is going to be like and what kind of content you're going to get. But it was way better than it should have been. And Ewan McGregor is just absolutely incredible in the show. But one of the things it did for me was it really reinforced the prequels, because people shit on the prequels all the time. And Hayden Christensen's performance as Darth Vader, and there was a lot of dialogue and heavy talk. But then you realize as this new Star Wars is kind of built, you're like, holy shit, this story really is a story about a descent into fascism. And it's really, I went back and watched them again and I was like, wow, this is actually way better than I thought it was. And it was weird to say that because I spent so many years shitting on the prequels, because you watch the original 3 and then you watch these, you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then the third, number 3 just really ties it together. And now watching that show and going back, it's like, wow, the story of Obi-Wan is just this hubris and failure. That's his. And he's always been one of my favorite characters in there. But if you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely check it out if that's up your alley. But you kind of have to watch a bunch of shit, and it might take you a while to get there.
That's why I really haven't dove into the Marvel DC universes, because I don't know the chronology of a lot of the stuff. I'm a completist, and I'm afraid of watching something out of order. And then be like, shit, I should have watched this first. I can't watch any of it because I've ruined it for myself. That kind of, because I'm that neurotic about things. But
it's the Marvel movies. I feel like you can either watch them in order chronological. There's websites that have it listed out okay, you start with Captain America, and then you go to not Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel, and work your way down. Or you can start in the order that they're released, and you're still gonna stay current, but it's a lot of information. But Endgame and Infinity War, those movies are just they're epics. Epics in the back in the day when they used to make them 3 or 4 hour movies. That's how good those movies are. And everybody, everybody's got an opinion on them. But man, I want to go to the movies and be entertained. It's just like wrestling, right? Yeah. I want to be sports entertained when I watch it. I want to have a good time while I'm there. And that's what Marvel did for me. DC, however, just watch the Nolan movies, the Nolan Batman movies, and stay away from pretty much everything else. It's just all
gotcha.
It's all poop. It's all bad. Batman versus Superman, Batman versus Superman, I think could be the worst superhero movie I've ever watched. And it's
Batman versus Superman, Superman versus Batman from Acclaim.
And it's not because of Ben Affleck. Batfleck was great, but the storyline, Superman. Are you familiar with Superman's arc with Doomsday and Superman dies?
Not really.
So Superman dies in the comic books in the 90s, and he's killed by this character.
Spoiler
alert!
I knew that.
Where's my news report? Superman dies, but no, he's killed by this interstellar extraterrestrial monster named Doomsday. And it's this whole story arc where the Justice League has to figure out how they're going to return after Superman dies, and he's in the afterlife and what his parents do. And it's really well done, written story. World without Superman. And instead they fucking pack in the movie, they create General Zod, who's dead, they put him in this chamber, and then he becomes Doomsday. And it's like, guys, what the fuck is going on? Like, why would you, like, it doesn't even track. I'm okay with suspending reality in some instances, but like, for fuck's sake, this is terrible. It was just, and then they did a recut, which was like 3.5 hours long. And I'm like, if you got to add stuff back to the movie, and just fucking throw it in the garbage and start over. Fucking throw it away, man. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the news. James Caan passed away yesterday. And then Tony Sirico from The Sopranos, Paulie Walnuts, died today.
Talk about two iconic actors. James Caan, amazing. Seems like every man's every man.
Yeah.
And then, I don't even say his real name. I call him Paulie Walnuts. I don't give a fuck what his real name. To me, he's Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most iconic TV characters. One of my favorite character from The Sopranos.
Yeah, unquestionably.
Pine Barrens Forever.
He was an interior designer.
His apartment looked like shit.
That's the name of the episode. He was an interior designer.
Yeah. ... His apartment looked like shit. I'm sitting here eating ketchup packets.
If we should have gone to Roy Rogers. That's one of the best episodes. It's season 3, episode 11, Pine Barrens. It is so good.
Dude.
So good.
Pine Barrens was so good and had the ultimate cliffhanger. Yeah. I swear to God, that Russian guy was going to be the one who was going to kill Tony at the end of the show.
Yes, I thought so too. I really did. I thought he was going to come back.
They just left that guy. They never really put a bow on where did the Russian go.
And he shot him
walking into a chainsaw. Yeah. They accidentally got David Chase to admit, he slipped during an interview and called it the death scene. And the reporter goes, you just referred to that as the death scene. And David Chase goes, fuck you.
I mean, but here, like, for real, I can't even imagine being David Chase. And, I mean, when did the show go off the air? It was 2007, I think, 2008? We're in...
2007, yeah.
I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my ex's house, and I was watching the TV, and I had a Nextel at the time. And... Oh, there's that seltzer kiss. Shout out to Josh Chernoff. But my Nextel starts fucking blowing up, and people are screaming like, "Did your TV black out? Did your cable go out?" I'm like, "No, I don't know. Like the credits are rolling. Did we miss something?" And we're talking about 14, 15 years ago now since the show's been off the air, and I mean, I'm sure it can be like relatable to you, where it's like, "Oh, tell me about the JBL thing." Every place you go, like it's got to be grating after a while,
That's the rest of his life.
Forever.
So happy to Tony.
So tell me real fast. I just need to know, since you haven't heard this question before. Where's Tony? What happened?
Put it this way. That show was so well written that there's audio out there of FBI wiretaps of mafia people talking about the show as if they wrote it about somebody they knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's actual like FBI... Hey, yo, you see that Sopranos? I think they wrote that about, Tony Baloney Nose. I don't know.
Coffee cake.
Yeah. But, that's amazing. Your writing is so good that the real people think it's about somebody they've met, So that's tip of the cap. Yeah, that's probably, Sopranos and The Wire, that was the golden age of television right there. It was such a game changer in how shows were done and, how people watched their TV. It became appointment television. Sunday nights, HBO,
I remember 1999 when the show started. We watched in the living room Sunday nights. Now, keep in mind, I'm probably 14, 13 years old. There is no good reason on God's green earth why a 13-year-old should be watching the fucking Sopranos, but yet here we are. And but I remember I was every Sunday. It was appointment TV, watching The Sopranos every week. And it really did. I think that show specifically revolutionized television in general. Because without that, you don't have The Wire. You don't have Mad Men. You don't have Breaking Bad. But I think, too, you can go back to James Caan with Sonny Corleone. I mean, even
Yeah.
that story, there's all kinds of wild shit that was happening while they were filming that movie. There were gangsters threatening them not to do this movie, and they went and did it anyway.
There's
And-
a TV show out now that's about the making of that show. It's not a docuseries, but it's like a scripted show on everything that went wrong with the making of The Godfather.
I believe it.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's great.
I'll have to look for it. I believe it though. I'm into all the history about that movie and how it came to be. And man, it's just such a classic. It's an iconic film. And I know recently actually when I was in Pittsburgh, I accidentally found out that they redid Godfather 3. And I've always kind of had this weird like of Godfather 3, even though the Sofia Coppola's acting was really just dreadful in the movie. I always enjoyed the movie because I loved the story. I'm a history guy, so I loved that they tied in the whole thing about the real shit that happened between the Catholic Church and the mafia. And that,
Right.
that the Immobiliare is like really like what happened with the Vatican Bank. And but they basically Coppola did a recut of the movie and calls it the Godfather Coda. It's like what the movie was supposed to be when he originally created it. And man, is it fucking good. Like, holy
It's
shit.
better than
good.
it's better than the original 3.
Yeah, it's better than than number 3's original release. Like, there's so much more that's put in there. There's not that weird scene at the end where Michael just falls over in the chair and just falls. Like, you're missing a lot of that stuff that was just sort of unnecessary. But man, that fucking movie was really, really like just took it to another level for me anyway. And I really enjoyed it.
Have you watched the Godfather Chronicle? The chronology, where they dissected the movie and put it all in chronological order.
No, I haven't watched that.
Where all the flashbacks are front loaded.
No shit.
And it's out there.
You know what? Somebody mentioned this to me before, and I think it was on.
It's like 9 hours.
What's that?
Yeah, it might be. It's like 9 hours, 10 hours long.
10 hours worth of Godfather, like, sign me the fuck up. I'm ready for it. Man. I'm here for that shit. But, like, everybody shits on the scene at the end of Godfather 3 when she gets shot and, Dad? She's dead. I could have done that line better. But Pacino and the big scream and, like, oh, my God, man. Fucking classic shit. But what was not classic, sir, was our friends at Manscaped. No, I'm just kidding. They're not sponsoring us. But shout out to our friends at Manscaped. What was not classic is that friend of the show, Riddle, lost in the Money in the Bank briefcase ladder match. Did you get a chance to check out the pay-per-view?
I watched it in bits and pieces. I tried to watch it. I have a bone to pick with, WWE pay-per-views. And not for the match quality, just for the fucking, like, I was watching it, and then after a while, I just kind of had to turn it off because I was getting angry and frustrated with the fact that I subscribe to Peacock at the rate where I don't want to see commercials. So when they have a pay-per-view, they have it formatted to where when the people who pay on the lower tiers have to sit through commercials, they play like pre-packaged WWE stuff, like recap stuff, to fill that void. And it's just like, why do I have to sit through the commercials?
Right.
And I should be able to. It just slows down the progress of the pay-per-view, and basically it's all the stuff that they show in the pre-show.
So why? Yeah, that's what you were telling me that there was issues with the commercials. I'm like, why? If you pay for the tier, why are you still getting? Like, I couldn't figure out why that was happening.
If anything, they should. The lower tier should still watch the commercials and have to play catch up with the rest of us. That should be encouraging to pay for the ad free. And I hate when they do that stuff with the like say the Stone Cold sessions, the Broken Skull sessions, where Steve's interviewing somebody and they do that little fade to black as if they're going to commercial and it comes back from the black.
Right. Yeah.
It just kills the flow of the interview. I mean, it's nothing major, but it's still distracting. And we're paying for that, ad-free experience.
Right.
yeah, it's still formatted for commercials and stuff like that. But yeah, I watched Money in the Bank in bits and pieces. Yeah, I wish Riddle would have won, but the fact that he didn't win, they did it in a way where Theory, that curveball kind of screwed everybody in the match. So he didn't win, but he really didn't lose either, because it was such a last minute thing. So I'm still confident in Riddle's rise within the WWE. So
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this Theory thing, man. I really don't.
I think he's great. But I think he gets the negative rub because he's in the storyline he's Vince's guy.
Do you think that's
people?
Do you think that's what it is though? Do you think it's just because it's like Drew McIntyre and then Roman Reigns and is it
What's
like
that?
is it just that do you think it's the McMahon rub that they're pushing him on people? I don't think that people have necessarily the visceral reaction that they did to Roman Reigns back in the day. I think it's like a real hatred towards him, and he's embracing it.
Well, I think I said this before, and I'll say it to my dying breath. The initial heat with Roman Reigns was the curse of Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
The Daniel Bryan gets eliminated from the Royal Rumble, so everybody starts chanting for Roman to win. So the next year, WWE's like, wow, the fans really wanted Roman to win. We'll have him win this year. Meanwhile, Daniel Bryan gets eliminated early. And then Roman Reigns wins, and the fans are like overly just over the fact that Daniel Bryan didn't win because, A, they want him to win before, and if he couldn't win the year before, Roman Reigns would have been another good guy to win.
Right.
But the next year, Daniel Bryan probably should have won that one, and they went with Roman Reigns based off of how the fans reacted to the year prior. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
So they're like, oh, he's the anointed one. He's the company favorite. They're pushing him down our throats. And granted, some of the writing and the promos, the stuff they wrote for promos didn't help.
Well, yeah. I mean, they kind of stuck it to him a little bit with that stuff, but
yeah, with the suffering succotash and all that stuff.
But I think Theory has a natural heat to him. There's just a natural cockiness to him. And look, I mean, do I think that he's going to be the guy to dethrone Roman? No, I don't see it. At least not yet. I think Theory.
It's early in his career. Well, it's really early.
It's not like a Brock or even a Randy Orton where it was like they were young guys, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like seeing the titles on them at the time, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But Theory, I think it's a year too early. I think he still needs to build and hold maybe the IC title. I don't know.
I'm going to predict that there's going to be a curveball in there somewhere because Roman being the heel and Theory being the heel, what's the appeal of heel versus heel?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, right.
So either, Brock, unless Brock eventually ends up winning the belt.
Well,
then Theory versus Brock, and Brock, ruins his chance to cash in.
Or
he goes to cash in and he fails.
Or is it Cena? Because that's the big rumor that Cena's coming back. So does Cena come back and ruin Theory's chances?
Yeah, I think Cena's out with everything that's the other news that's been coming out.
Oh, yes,
that
yes. One, the one
that
where,
stuff.
That one, yes,
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I think Cena has 12 million reasons not to come back.
I think you're right.
For the time being.
Right. No, it's probably better for him to stay. And honestly, and to be clear, we are not touching this topic with a 30-foot pole, but there are definitely implications that are around it. So if it's something that sort of tap dances close to it, we're going to discuss it. And Cena is definitely something that comes into that stratosphere. But yeah. I think whatever Cena maybe had planned before, he may have probably backed away from it now.
Well, he wisely backed away when they were going overseas for the Saudi Arabia shows.
Yeah,
and then with the reporter, going missing him being murdered and stuff like that. But he never went back. So,
Right.
He did their first show, but he never went back. So I'm not saying he's gone forever from WWE, but in the midst of what's going on now, yeah, I think he's going to lay low.
Yeah. It's probably for the best. Well, it was him. I think Daniel Bryan never went, or if he did go, he went once and he was like, nope, I'm out. I'm not doing this again. I don't think Sami Zayn ever appeared at Saudi Arabia either.
Well, he can't.
Why?
For religious reasons.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Religious reason.
That's right. I forgot. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense, but that was my initial thought was like, okay, well, Theory's going to win the briefcase, and then he'll try to cash in on Roman or Brock, and then Cena will tank it. I still am a firm believer. I know we talk about this a lot, but seltzer kiss. I still don't believe that the fight between Roman and Rock, like The Rock, Dwayne, whenever that happens, I don't think it needs a belt. What do you think?
Nah, that there's things you do, you put the belt on for that match would be its own attraction.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a title. Just like I don't think any of the Rock Cena matches needed the belt to be on the line, to be honest. It was the meeting of two generations.
Yeah. And that's kind of what this is right now. I mean, I felt like the Cena Roman thing could have been a build of that nature, but I feel like Cena was a believable opponent for him to sort of like cascade to the next level. Like it was like, okay, he was definitely like, it was almost like okay, well, it's Brock, and then he beats Brock, and then he goes over on Cena, and then he, and like Edge, it's like kind of like building up and winding up to the big fight with Dwayne. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes and what they do with it. But I definitely thought that Riddle was going to take it this year. I just had that feeling that
I was without even I haven't talked to him in a bit, but I was 1,000% sure he would have won it.
Yeah,
that he was my prediction. Just to elevate him a little bit. Now that he's gone from the tag team ranks, and with Randy's injury, he's a going the solo route out of necessity,
right?
Because Randy's done for a little bit, so I 1,000% thought he would have won it.
I wonder if that was what the build was going to be too, Randy and Roman at SummerSlam.
It could have been. What is Randy's injury? I never even really heard what it was. I know he's hurt, but
to the best of my knowledge, it's his back. Something that has to do with his back, or like I think it's probably his lower back, but it has him out for the rest of the year essentially, and it's like fuck.
Yeah, which is amazing because Randy, not amazing, but it's surprising because Randy's like such a stickler for he's known to do a lot of stretches to stay loose and stuff like that. Hence why he rides on the tour bus so he can keep his routine of stretching out and keeping his everything loose.
Interesting,
so to speak. Yeah. Just so he's not cramped up in the car, and because sometimes the travel as a wrestler, sometimes the travel does just as much damage as what you do in the ring. You do what you do in the ring, and then you're driving for 3 or 4 hours to the next town, get a little bit of sleep, go to a gym, wrestle, wash, rinse, repeat. So that's why a lot of the guys get the buses too, just so they can just sprawl out and not be cramped in the car. But me, I still prefer the car rides. I love the car rides. That's something I've always loved about the business, the car rides with the other wrestlers.
Well, right. It's because it's the camaraderie, the conversation, the stories that come from that. I'm sure that's way better than being on the bus.
Yeah, and coming up in an era where we didn't have cell phones, and stuff like that. And
right.
People talk to each other, and we're not scrolling the internet. But not that there's anything wrong with that. If we had it back then, we probably would have done it.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. But people talk about today's wrestlers play video games. Hey, I played video games, so
who gives a shit? Who gives a crap? Who cares? That's
downtime stuff,
Yeah. What do you think? Everybody's just got to be in barroom fights in the locker room? Like, come on,
Yeah,
this is
right.
This is not how this works.
Yeah, man. I was playing the Superfire Pro wrestling games and No Mercies and WrestleMania 2000 and all. Shit.
Yeah.
There's business and pleasure.
Right.
And back in the day, some guys played dominoes in the locker room or they played cards. Today's guys play video games. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong. But you know what? What would be wrong?
What would be wrong?
Typically, we wait a little bit longer for this, but we got a lot of good questions this week. So,
nice.
Mr. The Blue Meanie. Are you ready to ask Meanie?
I would love to. It's time to ask Meanie anything. Ask me something.
Don't forget, tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meanie using the hashtag AskMeanie, and you may hear them on the show. Typically, we wait till about 45 minutes in before we ask them, but brother, we got a lot of good ones here. So I'm going to start from
good
the
shit,
top.
brother.
Such good shit. Jeffrey Mitchell asked, yo, Adam and Meanie,
Yo.
this question is for both of you. Yo, who would you cast as the blue guy in a biopic about his life? There's one answer to this, and it's Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he would have to get in shape.
Yeah. He'd have to get in way better shape. Way better shape.
It's a shame, can't go into the time machine and bring Chris Farley to the future. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe someone like a Jonah Hill?
I could see Jonah Hill, but here, actually, you know what? Here's my real answer. If he was still alive, the person that would be perfect to play the Blue Meanie in his biopic, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
I could see him definitely pulling off that role.
Yeah. Yeah. So Philip Seymour Hoffman almost had and when he was doing comedy, he had that Jack Black type quality to himself.
Yeah.
Where he wasn't afraid to make a fool.
Yeah.
Just to play the role, So, yeah, that's a good, I mean, hey, world-class actor right there.
Yeah. Pod Squatter Andrew Bailey wants to know, Shackleford wants to know, Meanie and Adam, who is the coolest or most famous person's number that you've ever had in your cell phone?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Most famous?
Yeah.
I don't want to answer this question without insulting anybody. I had Billy Corgan's number, but he changed it so much we just talk through email now.
Right.
But maybe I guess Steve Austin.
Oh,
probably.
man. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I would have said Billy, but again, I gave up getting new numbers from him. So yeah, that would have to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You currently have his number?
Yes.
Crazy. Does he?
He's just
hey, Meanie. What?
Just a dude. Nah, just
No, I know. He's just, but a kid of the Attitude Era. You're like, holy shit,
Yeah, I mean, we go back to ECW.
Right.
My first couple weeks in was his last weeks in, and it's funny. We're at the Travel Lodge, and I was going to drive me, Stevie, and Raven over, and he's like, he told Austin to hop in with us. Now I'm a young guy. I got my second car ever, and I had every spare tire in the world in the trunk of my car for whatever reason. I thought that's what you did. You kept 3 or 4 spares in your trunk. So Austin goes to put his bag in the trunk, and there's no room. And I felt like such a dick. Goddamn, I guess I have to keep it on my lap. It's like, oh man, this sucks. I'm so sorry. It's okay, kid.
I'm trying to think of who would be the coolest telephone number I ever had. I have a couple.
I used to have OJ's.
You had O.J. Simpson's telephone number?
Yeah.
What?
And it went to his voicemail. He never picked up. It just went straight to voicemail.
What?
Hi, this is the juice. Please leave a name and message.
Oh my God.
Beep.
The coolest person, I guess Ryan Dunn. I had Ryan.
Yeah.
I think I never delete anybody's number on my phone, but I had Ryan Dunn's number. Never. I used it once or twice when Bam was notorious for losing his cell phone, like cell phone passport all the time. So we're in the car one day. I forget where we were just hanging out. Something in Westchester. He's like, "Hey, where's your phone?" I was like, "Oh,
Sounds
right
just
here.
like him.
You got Dunn's number?" And I was like, "I don't think so." He's like, "Oh, here, pull it up, 610," and he gave me the number. So I'm sitting there texting back and forth with Ryan Dunn, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is cool," And tell him I need this, that, and the other. And I'm like, "Why don't you just fucking tell? Here's the phone. You call him." Bam had one number for an eternity, but he's had multiple numbers recently, and unfortunately, I haven't spoken to him recently. Tommy Chong. I have Tommy Chong's cell phone number. I interviewed him on an episode of Foundation Radio, which you can listen to in the archives at foundationradio.net. But yeah, I called him. I FaceTimed him for the interview, and I have Tommy's number. So yeah, I guess that would probably be the most famous person.
I mean, I have a lot of cool numbers, but like as far as famous and just worldwide, it had to be Stone Cold. I have a couple rocks, people in the rock and roll business.
Yeah,
in bands and stuff, but
yeah, I guess Tommy Chong. Tommy Chong is probably the most famous person's number and I only used it one time, but
he's iconic, So yeah,
pretty cool, man. It was a fun interview. Tommy Chong was a really cool guy. Was stoned.
He got railroaded.
What's that?
He got railroaded.
Yeah, big time.
He got. That was such a fucking setup.
Totally, they used him as an example, and he talked in the episode. He talks about it. He was like, it just changed a lot of my viewpoints and a lot of my perspective on things. And I don't blame him. I mean, he did federal time, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Boulder Clark wants to know, could Blockbuster survive today? I'm talking strictly as a movie rental place, not streaming. Like a place you go on a Friday or Saturday night. Side note, I worked at a Blockbuster in Northeast Philadelphia for many years when I was in my early 20s, and I missed that place every day.
Have you seen the documentary, The Last Blockbuster?
I followed the account on Instagram, but I haven't had a chance to watch the documentary
There's one single Blockbuster video in existence. And there's a place in Philly where there used to be a Blockbuster, but they have one of those signs that's like 1,000 feet tall, and it's still got the Blockbuster logo on it. They just never bothered to take it down. Yeah, it's like this big beacon in South Philly, But could it today? I guarantee it could make a comeback. Just how things just come back. People collect vinyl now. People. I still try to collect physical media.
Yeah,
because I hate the fact of having to rely on streaming services. Imagine, one of my favorite shows is the BBC's Sherlock. Right? And it was on Netflix forever. And then they just recently got rid of it. And it's like, fuck. I don't want to be held hostage to the fact that, Netflix doesn't have it anymore, so I can't watch it because of them.
Right.
I still like having physical media. I bet it could. There's still people out there who collect VHS, just...
Even film, 35 millimeter film, I shoot with that. And people still, for a while, nobody was shooting with it and it was almost impossible to find anything. And then all of a sudden, within the past couple of years, it had this resurgence and people are shooting with film again. But I'm the same way. I just bought a bunch of new Blu-rays. I didn't buy a bunch of them, but it's just I try to have my favorite movies, like Tropic Thunder and Fallen and a couple of other movies that I really, really like. And I have them just in case, if the internet goes down, throw it in the Blu-ray player, and then we have something to watch. But I don't have as many as I used to. But I think it's definitely, I'm the same way. But I don't know. It's hard to say whether or not Blockbuster could survive today. As a giant chain entity, probably not. If it was a regional thing, maybe in select markets like New York, LA, Philly, maybe it probably... I would say it would be good, vintage throwback kind of thing. You know, like the way Polaroid is now. I feel like that might be a good thing, but I don't know. It's hard to call. It's a tough call.
Yeah.
Ivan Rivers wants to know, this one's for the goob and the blueness. What's your go-to karaoke songs?
The stop button. Nobody wants to hear me sing.
They didn't come
What
for
are you,
the. They
what
didn't
are you
come.
fucking high?
They didn't come for the pipes. They came for the dancing.
Yes. Good question, but
Yeah.
that was always my favorite line. His best song was the stop button. Whoever was on the fucking radio.
What would be Jack and Diane by John Mellencamp is usually if you get a couple of drinks in me, cut a little bit of tequila, and there's a karaoke machine, I'm gonna get up there and like scream it.
Have you seen that one-it poster that has John Cougar Mellencamp on it? It says, "Warning, to never sell this man the chili dog." And it's a photo of John Cougar Mellencamp. It's like
That's
a
so
one,
good.
like a one, you know.
What else? What other karaoke songs?
More like karaoke.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm drinking, man, if I'm in the shower, like I can carry a tune. Like I'm definitely like, and I can whistle. Like that's my secret talent. Is I'm a pitch perfect whistler. Legit.
That's big heat.
Big heat for you?
Oh, dude, people walking around fucking ShopRite whistling zippity doo-dah. Like some talent scout's going to go, "Oh, man, I have to sign you. What's that song you're whistling?" "Oh, it's a tune I wrote." "Oh, let's collaborate." No, fuck off. I don't want to hear your whistle. I don't want to see your fucking feet. I don't want to hear your fucking FaceTime call in ShopRite. I want to smack the phone out of your fucking hand.
Yeah, no,
It's fucking...
It's so.
Oh, the
rude.
FBI, the government's listening to us. No, they're just following you around ShopRite because you're on the cell phone on speaker.
And the person you're talking to is blasting through the speakers right now.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
it's-
anyway, my herpes are clearing up.
I got that hemorrhoid removed last week. No, I'm
I was going to get my testicles laminated.
I'm a pitch perfect whistler. So a lot of times if you catch me at the office or if I'm like kind of wandering around and checking stuff and I'm whistling. But Jack and Diane is usually the one I'll go to. Sometimes Journey. Depends on the mood I'm in.
Dude, Journey gets me, man. And it's not even Don't Stop Believing. You know, I know The Sopranos brought that back, but you know what fucking song gets me? Journey's Faithfully.
Yes.
That song could easily be about a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Life. Oh, you almost got me to sing there. Loving the music, man, ain't what always was supposed to be. Blah blah blah. That song's totally about. That could be about pro wrestler or anybody who travels for a living.
That's a great record, man. What's the other
dude.
one? The
They're amazing.
Someday love will find you.
Separate Ways.
That's the one.
Which
Yeah.
They did an amazing new version in Stranger Things, which I was like, oh my god, I start choking up.
Yeah, I was going to say that was for some reason it was in my head, and I was like, I've sang that at karaoke. Look at us, we came full circle on the episode. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's another one I'll go to sometimes if I'm feeling a little squirrely. Usually it's Jack and Diane. We used to have a group of guys we used to hang out with. My buddy, my best friend from 20 years, Lane Jaffe, and two other guys. We used to go to a bunch of different bars, and one time we were at a bar in Rockledge, and we were just obnoxious, belting out all the songs. So they were calling us the Rockledge Men's Choir. And so we got up and we sang Jack and Diane, and it was a fucking hit. The whole bar was loving it. But
If you're a big Mellencamp fan, you got to talk to Rip Rogers because he went to high school with him.
No shit.
Yeah, he's in. Rip Rogers is in the music video for Spinning Wheels.
That's crazy. I'm more of a.
I think that's what. He's like Midwestern Springsteen,
Yeah.
just like Brian Adams is Canadian Springsteen.
That's it. Yes, Canadian Springsteen.
Yeah,
I got one more.
they
question.
should do it like a triple. Dude, that would be like the perfect triple bill: Springsteen, Brian Adams, Mellencamp.
Book it. Let's do it. Book it, Terry. Book it.
Yeah. Or you could get Neil Young. He's like, he's Canadian too. So
Yeah. I do a pretty decent Neil Young impression if you get booze into me. Chinless no knees. What, do you want me to do it?
No. I was about to tell a story that I don't know if should be told. So.
Well, let's do this to transition into our next question.
It's the shits.
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
I'll put it this way, without naming names. There's a person I know who is known not to bathe that much.
Oof.
And his coworkers would sing to the tune of "Old Man" by Neil Young. They would call him Old Meat because he smelled like old meat.
Ugh.
And they go, "Old meat, why do you smell? You should take a shower."
I'm gonna ask you. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Last question here, Brian, whose handle is Chinless No Knees, which is hilarious. A lot of people say they have no regrets in the decisions they made in life. Is there anything that you guys would have done differently or not done at all? Philosophical here at 11:43 p.m.
Oh, yeah. I mean, made plenty of mistakes, but, I learned from them. And, they're mistakes I can pass on to the next generation and hopefully save somebody some embarrassment, when I first went to WWE, I wish I got that first class ticket. I wish I would have known to offer it to a vet, stuff like that, just certain things where I took things out of context or, took things as an insult. And, that was just that person's way of, joking with me and, said, hey, now back in the day, I was like, oh, that guy was probably just joking with me. I got my balls twisted for no reason. People who like super dry humor and me being young and, needing the obvious jokes in my life at the time.
Yeah.
But I think I've done just not much, just because the fact that I've made decisions that actually help shape my life. I remember the day I was walking to work with my mom. She was working in one casino, I was working in another, and I had already saved up and sent my money in for wrestling school. I said, you know what? I'm going in tonight and giving my 2 weeks. I'm going to wrestling school in 2 weeks. She said, okay. And then 2 weeks, the day after WrestleMania 10, I'm loading up the car and driving out to Ohio to meet Al Snow for the first time.
Wow.
I had one of those shit or get off the pot moments where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to wrestling school. I sent my money in and all that stuff. And, Phil Slee's like, well, when you coming out? Kind of, throwing down the punk card. And, there was this one night, I remember the street corner I was standing on too. We were waiting to, for the green light to cross the street. And I went, hey, I think I'm going in tonight and give my 2 weeks.
Wow.
Just, you make decisions. Sometimes they don't always pan out, but, sometimes they do.
Yeah, I don't know if I could answer it any better than that. So I'm not going to add anything on that because I think that's the best way to answer it. I mean, yeah, I've made a ton of mistakes in my life and just got to learn from them.
The best. There's nothing wrong with mistakes. It's just wrong to repeat them.
Right. Well, Meanie, we didn't repeat any questions this week, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I also want to say thank you for doing the show with me each and every week.
Thank you for working your schedule out for me this week.
Absolutely.
I knew I threw you a little bit of a curveball.
It's fine, man. I am happy to do the show with you here. I'm happy to be part of this wonderful community called the Pod Squad. But Meanie, where can people find you on your social media?
If you would like to follow the Blue Meanie on all forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, whatever that is, go to @BlueMeanieBWO. That's where you can follow me and see what I'm up to, see what nonsense I got going on. If you would like to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. If you would like to support my enemy, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/MineTheMeanie. Get yourself some great looking t-shirts there, and all the money you spend at Mind of the Meanie, goes right back into the podcast and helps us keep the lights on. Collar and Elbow brand, Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Rod Hicks is doing an amazing job there with the relaunch. Use coupon code MEANIE. Save 10%. Now, look, I'm a bearded fellow, and you're a bearded fellow. And even if you're not a bearded fellow and you have a friend who has a beard, go to madcatbeardcare.com and get the blue spruce. My boy Josh Thornton is doing a great job over there. All the proceeds go to take care of feral cats. So if you're a cat lover and have a beard and a beard lover, go get the blue spruce. There's plenty of great scents over there. Taz has one, Stevie has one. So go over there to madcatbeardcare.com and get the hookup. Now, if you would like to get a video message from me, go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO for birthdays, holidays, well wishes, or whatever you can think of. Be a little bit creative. If Cameo is not your thing, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie and get a shoot video where it's their version of Cameo. So go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie and get yourself a shoot video. But most importantly, Mr. Adam Barnard, where can we find you?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at This Is Goober. Yes, it's my handle. Yes, I'm keeping it. It's a brand, pal. You can also listen to the separate program, Foundation Radio, by going to foundationradio.net. Like I said, lots of great interviews over there with people ranging from Tommy Chong to CBS News correspondent Robert Costa to friend of the show and former WWE and ECW superstar Rob Van Dam. So check it out, foundationradio.net. You can also go to prowrestlingtees.com/Foundation Radio, pick up a shirt. All the proceeds go back to keeping the lights on in the Barnard home for wayward and troubled youth, and patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Don't forget to sign up today to watch us. Meanie, you got any appearances coming up? I know we will both be at Icons. Meanie will be doing his thing. I'll be there geeking out about Ken Shamrock. That's August 6th, 2300 Arena, the ECW Arena. Come out and see us. But where else can people see you coming up soon?
For time being, August 6th at the ECW Arena, 2300 Arena, where I'll have some of my Mad Cat beard oil with me, some 8x10s, some new shirts. So come check me out.
We will be there. Come and say hi when you see us. Pod Squad, thank you again so much. Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie for the Blue Meanie. I'm Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip through the mind
Blue World Order.
of the Meanie. Peace.
Blue World Order.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie was recorded and produced by Adam Barnard and was engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional production and narration provided by Sam Krebs. Our executive producers are Josh Chernoff, Adam Barnard, and the Blue Meanie. Our opening theme is performed by the Swamp Candles. Our closing theme is performed by Chikara. The show contains original music produced by Enrichment. Get additional bonus content by becoming our patron on Patreon at patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mind of the Meanie. This has been a Butts Carlton media production in conjunction with the MLW Radio Network. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?
The world of MLW Radio never stops.